Hey folks, so Wizards of the Coast have released a new frequently asked questions on their website, which I will link to in the description below, about the use of generative or AI art in their flagship products, Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. And I thought we could take a look at that fact together. This news just broke very recently, so I thought I'd bring that to you. But before we get into that, of course, if you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. And, well, that said, let's jump right into it here. And I will link to this below, so you guys will be able to check that out. Let's go ahead and jump right in. This is the generative AI art fact. Recently, we've had a few occasions where art used in marketing and game pieces have been publicly scrutinized, including for the possible inclusion of generative AI. During this time, we've made mistakes, while at the same time have also seen artists in their work misidentified as problematic in a variety of ways. To that end, we're sharing a fact that addresses how we assess and respond to generative AI concerns with art commissioned for both Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, both before and after it has been published. Generative AI is a constantly evolving space, and this fact will be revised on an ongoing basis to reflect what we are learning alongside everyone else. So this could change, guys. What you're hearing from me right now, it could change this evening. So let's get into the meat of it here. What are your policies around art? Both brands have their own artist handbooks. These are not public documents, but every artist who works with us is given a copy as and is expected to stick to the guidelines. The core of our policy is this: Magic and D&D have been built on the innovation, ingenuity, and hard work of talented people who sculpt these beautiful, creative games. As such, we require artists, writers, and creatives contributing to the Magic TCG and the D&D TTRPG to refrain from using generative AI tools to create final Magic or D&D products. It's interesting, they address writers also. We've made a few other statements publicly as well, including 2 recent statements on our policy on generative AI art and Magic the Gathering products, which is also covered in our artist handbooks, and there's a couple of links, as well as similar statements from Dungeons and Dragons, and there's a couple links there, which of course we've talked about here on the show before. What tools do you have in place to detect generative AI usage? We are regularly evaluating resources we could use to help us detect generative AI. It is important to us that we continue having a human in the loop regardless, especially since these tools are quite new. How will you handle a situation where a piece of art has used generative AI and it wasn't caught by your internal processes or tools? The investigation process is much the same. We gather whatever information we have from reports, both private and public. We re-review the art, we rerun our tools, and we circle back with the artist who created the piece. Often, if public discourse is where a credible violation of our art policy was first discovered, we may make a statement. Why are you not being transparent about AI use? We try to be as transparent as possible, but not at the cost of people's privacy or livelihoods. Artists put themselves and their names out there with every piece they produce, and our priority is going to be protecting their privacy whenever possible. That means that not all public discourse on generative AI art use is going to result in a public statement by us. That said, we have been and will continue to be clear that we do not allow the use of generative AI in our art. While detection can be difficult and lines blurry, we are working hard to make sure our art is made by the talented humans who have delighted our fans for decades. Piece of art sure looks like AI to me. Why are you not doing something about it? We may not respond to online discourse about AI art for a variety of reasons, including but not limited to: our investigation revealed that there was no generative AI used; to protect the privacy of one or more individuals; the investigation was inconclusive; We made internal changes, such as declining to work with an artist further, but did not publicly comment. Our preference is to handle the issue and the artist relation internally where possible. When that is not possible, our goal is to be clear and concise and hopefully prevent further churn on the issue, both for the artist in question and for us. It seems like you no longer work with artists anymore, but you haven't said anything. Why not? Working relationships with artists can change for a variety of reasons. Everything from a decision by an artist to move in another direction to our evolving styles not matching up. Sometimes artists don't make art from Magic for years before coming back. I saw or read that that other Hasbro brand is using generative AI or will use generative AI. Why is that different from Magic and D&D? Hasbro has a vast portfolio of 1,900 plus brands, of which Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons are two very important, cherished brands. Each brand is going to approach its products differently. What is in the best interest of Trivial Pursuit is quite likely different than that of Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons. If there's only one takeaway I should have from this fact, what should it be? Human beings are fallible, whether it's a conglomerate of human beings like a company or a single human being like an artist. In the tension between perfection and transparency, we have erred on the side of transparency. As stated throughout, we have been consistent in our position with respect to generative AI in Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons art, and we want our community to know that we are working to ensure that they can see us deliberating on how best to meet that commitment, even if we occasionally stumble on the way. So, what do you guys think? Of course, that's always the question. Whoops. But what do you folks think about this? Do you think that this is Wizards or Hasbro being fully transparent? Do you think this is just a bunch of corporate gobbledygook? I want to know your opinions. Please leave them in the comments below. Guys, my opinion is this. With this fact, I think they're basically just saying the same things that they have before, like, oh gosh, no, we've never used AI and except when we've been caught out by you guys, and then we just kind of dummy up and try not to say anything else about it and hope that you forget because yada yada, online noise and that sort of thing. Now I myself personally have been pretty clear about my opinions on AI art and its use in free items. But as far as training art on various things, or the written word as art on various things, and then turning around and publishing something for money with that, well, no, I don't agree with that approach. Particularly not from Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, who have the resources to hire artists and to hire writers and to get the product they need. So I hope personally they'll cleave pretty close to this, and I hope personally that their generative detection tools that they're talking about having implemented are strong enough that we don't get another question like that weird looking storm giant from last year, if you guys remember that particular controversy. But again, as always, I want to know what you guys think. So please leave a statement in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I'm going to link to this article, of course, in the description. And I'll bring you any more of this news as it happens. The one closing thought I have is, you might wonder, well, Bill, how could this even a little bit affect old school stuff? All our stuff is out there. If Wizards of the Coast ever decide, whether it's for a limited time or whatever, to create a product that appeals more to us, I want to know, was the damn thing written by a robot? Was it illustrated by a robot? Or was the same care and crafting put into it that was put into the things that we love and that we cared about back in the day? I'll be back later, of course, with more videos, guys. Thank you very much. And until then, shut down all the trash compactors on the detention level. Peace.